Okay, this is chapter 2, lesson 2, percents and fractions. Now, we've done lesson 1, which talks about decimals and fractions. We've done lesson 3, which talks about percents and decimals. So now we have to make the final conclusion of percents and fractions. All right? The essential question is, when is it better to use a fraction, a decimal, or percent? Again, we're not going to be able to answer that question quite yet because this is the first time that we're going to be able to see a comparison between fractions and percents. All right? The lesson essential question is, why is it helpful to write a fraction as a percent? Well, if you think about it, how do I grade papers? Not only do I give you how many you missed out of how many, say, you got 15 right out of 20, I then give it to you in percent form so that you can understand what percent of the grade you got. Because when you understand or when you look at stuff, we grade things, in scale of 100, right? Not in scales of 20 or whatever it is that you want to look at. So recognize that on tests or something that you want to give people an idea of if it's a passing grade, if you're dealing with grades, you really want to put something into a percent instead of a fraction so that they understand what they're looking at. All right, so that's just one way. That's one way that you can answer that question. If you can come up with a different way, that's fine. All right, you should have out your your math folder, filling this out as we're going along. Okay, I don't have a problem if you stop the recording and go ahead and answer that lesson essential question in the guided practice. I would do that. I wouldn't want to wait. Okay, so, all right, here we go. Students were asked to choose their favorite sport to play. For each sport, shade a 10 by 10 grid that represents the number of students that chose the sport. Okay, now, I'm going to go ahead and open this up so that we can see this. All right. Now, I don't know if you can see, but these things have been kind of split apart for us a little bit. Okay? And I'm going to draw with my black pen here how it's supposed to be split apart. So it says 3 out of 20. So I'm going to split this grid up into sections of 20. Remember, there are 10 by 10 grid, so that means there's 10 up and down, and there's 10 left and right. Or there's 10 on the x-axis, and there's 10 boxes on the y-axis, and you should be able to understand that. Okay? So I'm going to break it into groups of 20. So this is a set of 20, because if it's 2 here, and it's 10 here, 2 times 10 is 20. Right? That's pretty much area. Right? Okay, and I'm going to do that again. And one more time, and I'm going to have 5 sets of 20. Okay? Now it says 3 out of 20. So for every 20, there's 3 people that like baseball. So you just fill in 3 out of 20. And you do it again here. 3 out of 20. Okay? 3 out of 20. And again here, 3 out of 20. And then 3 out of 20. If you want to do it up top, wherever, you want to randomly shade in 3 different boxes, however you want to do it, right? All right, so now football is 3 out of 25. Now again, this is a 10 by 10 grid, okay? I'm going to put the numbers up here just so that I don't keep it trying to stay away from the other stuff, all right? And I'm going to break this into grids of 25. Now, remember, a 5 by 5 grid is 25, right? So this is what I've done is I've broken it into a 5 by 5 grid. Count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it's 5 by 5, and I'll just put a little 5 by 5 right here. 5 by 5, right? That makes 25. Okay. And it says 3 out of 25, so take 3 squares in that 25 section and fill it in. And then do it again. 3 by 5. I'll put this one down here. I'll do it in all the corners. 3 out of 25, I didn't say 3 by 5, but 3 out of 25, and then again here, 3 out of 25, okay? Now I'm going to come down here and do just gymnastics. Again, I need sets of 20 so that I can do it again. And here, let me mark what's 10 by 10. This is 10 by 10, all right? And again, this is 2 by 10, so 2 times 10 is 20. So if I had the little 2 here, you should be able to recognize that a 2 by 10 grid is 20 boxes, okay? So I split this up into groups of 20. And it says 1 out of 20. So I'm going to just pick this box down here, fill that box in, fill that box in, fill that box in, fill that box in, and fill that box in. All right? And now swimming is 9 out of 100. Now remember, this is a 10 by 10 grid. So here we are. We got our 10 by 10 grid. It says 9 out of 100. Pick 9 squares and fill it in, right? Here, I'll fill in all these. That's 9. Right? If that's a 10 by 10, all I got to do is fill in all boxes but one, and that's 9. Okay, you should be able to reason that out on your own. Okay, so there we go. We've made our connections. All right. So the next thing is that it's asking us is that it says what fraction with a denominator of 100 represents the number of students who choose each sport. So it already told us what denominator it wants us to use. So go ahead and fill in 100 as the denominator for each one of these. Now, believe it or not, we've already solved this. All I got to do is go back up and count the number of shaded boxes that we have in each one. The easiest one is swimming. Look, that's 9 out of 100. So we can just put 9 right here. Ta-da, we're done with that one. All right, gymnastics is 1 out of 20, but that's just 1 out of 20. We've already shaded in, this is a complete set of 100. We shaded in 1 out of every 20. So how many did we shade in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So gymnastics is 5 out of 100. All right, I'm going to scroll back up to check out football and basketball. Oh, did I say baseball before? I probably did. All right, this is really basketball up here. Now the basketball is 3 out of every 20. So I count, how many boxes did I fill in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 boxes. And again, we'll look at the football now, and we'll count the number of boxes here that we filled in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, 12 boxes. And those are our answers, believe it or not. Okay, now we already learned what a percent was from the last one, right? Where it said a percent is a ratio comparing any number to 100. Okay, and if you look here, we're now set up that we are comparing numbers to 100. So I know that this is not asking us to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and jump the gun and explain it to you real quick. Basketball, this is already being compared. 15 to 100 is the same thing as 15%. Okay? Okay, it's being compared to 100. Football is 12%. All right, gymnastics is 5%. And swimming is 9%. Okay? Now, they only took 4 sports here. Okay? There's obviously more sports being polled because there's not a total of 100% here. We don't have a total of 100%, and that's okay. We don't really need to. All right? Let's continue on. All right, here we go. Again, we've already discussed this. Percent is a fraction. Well, we've discussed a percent that is a ratio that compares a number to 100. So now we're going to turn it into a fraction. For example, 45% is 45 out of 100 or 45 over 100. They show a model here that 45 out of the 100 boxes have been shaded in. Okay? And again, they show this little bar graph down here, right? Show this little bar graph. They show you where 45% is. It is between, remember, now if you look at this, if you're wondering what it's split up into, each one of these is worth 10%. Okay? Whoop, got me all confused with the 45. I don't know why. Right, I wanted to put 45. So 45 is between 40 and 50. And let me just continue on marking these 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay, and they've got 100 and 0% already. Okay? Now it actually tells you exactly what you should do. To write a percent as a fraction, first write the percent as a rate per 100. Then you must, well, simplify. Okay, I know that that's the thing that most people are having a hard time with, is the whole simplifying. What happened to my little thing here? I don't know. I must have not put it back. That's okay. Let's slide it all the way down. All right, here we go. So we want to write 50% as a fraction in simplest form. Remember, we're going to write that as a number over 100. We're going to write 50 over 100, right? 50% means 50 out of 100. I got the little model here. They're trying to show you everything over here, right? They can show you the little model. And as you know, half the model is shaded in. That's where they came up with half. But the definition of a percent is a number being compared to 100. So they put 50 over 100. Then they simplify by dividing the numerator and denominator by the GCF of 50. GCF meaning greatest common factor, which you should know. Okay. Not too bad. This is the easy part. This is the easy part. Okay? In a recent survey, 55% of cell phone owners said they text messages. They text message. What fraction of cell phone owners is this? Okay? Again, 55 is compared to, remember, percent is something that is a number being compared to 100. Okay? So again, they have this 55 over 100, and then they simplify, and it comes down to 11 over 20. Okay, remember to simplify, they are dividing each of these by 5. I'll go ahead and put that in here. GCF of 5 is what they're pulling out of those. Okay, so when they divide each of those numbers by 5, they come up with 11 and 20. So 11 out of 20 of cell phone owners text message. Okay, great. I'm pretty sure it's more than that. Okay, anyway, maybe not. It says, okay, so go ahead and pause this video and try these three on your own. If you're still not sure what's going on, don't pause the video. Let me do a couple for you, but I do want you to try to do the last one on your own. Okay, and remember to simplify, because it says it right here, simplest form. All right, so the definition of percent is a number compared to 100. So we're going to put 75% is equal to 75 over 100. Now we must simplify. I happen to know what the GCF is. I'm not going to build my trees anymore because I expect you to do that. I do not need to do that. I'm smart enough to do that. Okay? And I can tell that the greatest common factor between 75 and 100 is 25. So I'm going to divide. So I'm going to put GCF of 75 and 100 is 25. So I'm going to pull out, divide this by 25. That turns it into 3. Divide 100 by 25. It turns it into 4. So this is equal to 3/4 after simplified. Okay? I did not go through all this rigmarole that I normally do, right? I'm not building these factor trees anymore. You guys should be able to do that on your own now. Okay? Next one, 90%. Okay? 90%. Again, a percent is a number compared to 100. So all I have to do is take this number and put it over 100. And then simplify. I can look at this and tell that the GCF between 90 and 100 is 10. Okay? So I'm going to pull out a 10. When you, you know what? Let me just move this over. All right? I always like to start with the problem written. I just do. If you don't want to do that, that's fine because the problem's already written. Anyway, back to the nature at hand. All right. The GCF is 10, so I'm going to divide 90 by 10 and 100 by 10. 90 divided by 10 is, well, 9, and 100 divided by 10 is, well, 10. And then you got 9/10. Okay, done. All right. Now, if you have not tried any one of these on your own, please try 38 on your own. I will even build a factor tree just to help you along with it. All right. Definition of a percent is a number compared to 100. Okay, so this is 38 over 100. All right. I have built factor trees of 100 for you, so you should be able to look at that and have that ready. If you don't have that out and ready, you should have that by now. I will rebuild that factor tree of 100 real quick. All right, that's that. Okay, that's that. And then there's that. Okay, that's my factors. That's my prime factor tree. All right, I'm going to come over here to 38. I'm going to build that one. It's even, so I can pull out a 2. 38 divided by 2 is 16. Okay, is that right? That is not correct. It is 19. All right, and 2 and 19 are prime numbers, so that's the end of that. They both have 2 in common. So I'm going to divide both of these by 2. So the GCF is 2. All right. I'm going to divide this by 2, makes it 19. This by 2, that's 50. So we have 19 over 50. 19/50ths, right? That's how you'd say that, 19/50ths. Okay? Ta-da! No big deal. All right. You should have tried that on your own. All right. I got one more example to show you before we try to turn fractions into percents. The table shows the percent of each movie type rented during a month. What fraction of the rentals were action movies? All right. It says action movies, so go ahead and circle action movies so you're looking at only that. Sorry about that. Pause it so it didn't scare you too much. All right. Remember, definition of a percent is a number compared to 100. So you just put it over 100. All right. You put 35 over 100. The greatest common factor between 35 and 100 is 5. They divided both by 5. It comes out to 7/20ths. So action movies were rented 7/20ths of the time. Okay, let's try this one. It says write the fraction of rentals that were horror movies. All right, going to go ahead and circle horror movies in a different color so we know what we're looking at. So we got 5%. All right. Now it says the definition of a percent is a number compared to 100. So we put 5 over 100. Again, the greatest common factor between those numbers is 5, so GCF of 5, right? We divide both by 5, so that goes 1, that goes 20, so that's 1 over 20, or 1/20th, okay? Pretty easy. So now you know that 5% is equal to 1/20th, or 1 over 20. All right, here comes the tricky part. Fraction as percent. To write a fraction as percent, find equivalent ratios with 100 as a denominator. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it, since I've already taught you how to turn a decimal into a percent, you can just use division, figure out the decimal value of the fraction, and then turn that decimal into a percent. And then you'll be doing all 3 ways in one shot. And that's awesome if you can do that. Okay? They have this idea here. All right? This is how they do it. They write the fraction 6/8 as a percent. They simplify it first by dividing by a GCF of 2. Okay? Then they look at 4, 3/4. They go, look, we can change 4 into 100 by multiplying it by 25. Whatever you do to one number, you do to the other. They multiply 4 by 25, so you must multiply 3 times 25. 3 times 25 is, ta-da, 75. You should be able to do that. Okay? Here's how I would have done it. Okay? 6/8. It's a division problem, right? 6 divided by 8. So you got 6 divided by 8. Right? Got to put your decimal point, bring it up. 8 goes into 6, can't, but 8 goes into 67 times. 456, right? Got a remaining of 4. Annex of 0, bring down to 0. 8 goes into 45 times, and now all of a sudden you got 0.75. Now we learned how to change a decimal into percent by moving the decimal over 2 spaces to the right. So we move it over 2 spaces to the right, and that all of a sudden becomes 75%. Ta-da! Okay? This way you're not doing this. If this annoys you, okay, if that is hard for you, do this. Okay? I'm okay with that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's solid math. As a matter of fact, that practices division. That practices changing the decimal into percent. So you're constantly working on these skills. That's what it's all about in math. It's constantly working on these skills. Because as soon as you stop working on a skill, it goes away. If you don't ride a bike for a couple years, I'm going to tell you the next time you get on a bike, you're going to be a little wobbly. All right? So make sure you're practicing these skills. All right, so they want us to write the fraction 9/12 as a percent. What I will do is I will go ahead and do it both ways for you, okay? But I'm telling you, the best way for me is to just do the division and turn that decimal into a percent. All right, so you got 9/12. I'm going to pull out the GCF. Then the GCF between 9 and 12 is 3. GCF is 3, so I'm going to divide each of these by 3. It's going to be 3/4, so now all of a sudden I got 3/4. Now I'm going to get this to look like 100. Okay, we've already done this. They know that you know that you have 4 quarters in a dollar. So it takes 4 times 4 25s to make 100. Multiply 3 times whatever you do to one number. Remember, whatever you do to the one number, you do to the other every time. Okay, trying to hammer that home. 3 times 25 is 75, which is equal to, and remember, a percent is a number compared to 100. Okay, now that you got it looking compared to 100, all you can do is just rewrite it like this, 75%. Fantastic. Okay, that's that way. That's method 1. I'll call this method 1. The way that I like to do it is just go ahead and read 9/12 as a fraction, as a division problem. That is 9 divided by 12. So you have 9 being divided by 12. All right, bring up the decimal. 12 cannot go into 9. Okay, but as soon as you make it 90, 12 can go into 90 7 times, and that is 84. Okay, that 90 minus 84 is 6. Annex is 0, bring down the 0. Okay, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I meant to put the 0 there, not up there. All right, and 12 goes into 65 times, because 5 times 12 is 60. And then all of a sudden you've got 0.75, all right? And to change a decimal to a percent, you just move the decimal over 2 spaces to the right and add a percent sign. So that's 75%. Nothing extremely difficult, okay? What did I do here? How come How come? Oh, is it up here or something? What did I do? Did I not write the final screen? Did I delete the final screen? Oh, here it is. I skipped past it. Sorry about that. All right. Mitch made, so the last example, Mitch made 12 out of 40 shots during the championship game. What percent of his shots did Mitch make? All right. They do this. Okay. They get it to they pull out the greatest common factor between 12 and 40. That's 4. All right. You divide them both by 4, you come up with 3/10. All right, now you can easily change 10 to 100 by multiplying 10 times 10 is 100. So whatever you do to one number, you do to the other. That takes 3 times 10 is 30. So you got 30 100ths. And the definition of a percent is a number compared to 100. So all you got to do is now take that 30, pull it out by itself, and write 30%. Ta-da! All right. I would have done it like this. Again, I would have done it 12 40ths is the same thing as 12 divided by 40. Okay? Don't have to simplify it. There's no need. 40 goes into, can't go 40 into 1, can't go 40 into 12, but you can't bring up your decimal, and now you can put 40 into 120. Okay? 40 goes into 120 3 times 420, and that's it. So now this is 0.3. All right? Move the decimal over 2 places to the right. Annex a 0 as needed, and you got 30%. Telling you, man, if you can do this the way I'm doing it with that division, it's non-fail, okay? And it practices your division. All right, let's go ahead and try this one. I will only do this my way. How about that? I'm going to only do this my way, although this is pretty easy to do it their way. All right? I'll do it both ways. I don't mind doing both ways. So you got 9/25ths. Okay, and it's spelled 9 out of 25 words correctly. What percent of the words did Alina spell correctly? All right. Now recognize this is a ratio, right? Isn't that a ratio? 9 out of 25. Set it up as a fraction. Now you've got it as a fraction. You can easily turn 25 into 100, can't you? By multiplying it by 4. Whatever you do to one number, do to the other. So 19 times 4 is 6, carry the 3. 4, 5, 6 is 76. Okay, so that's 76, and this is our definition of a percent is a number compared to 100. It is 76 being compared to 100, so it's 76%. All right, if that's easy, okay. But if you don't like that way, remember you read 9/25ths as 19 divided by 25. So 19 divided by 25. Got to bring up your decimal, right? First thing I do. 25 can't go into 1. 25 can't go into 19. 25 can go into, annex of 0, 190 7 times. Now, I happen to know what that is. That's 175. Okay? All right. Got to do some subtraction. Here, let me move this whole thing up a little bit. Move stuff with it. Oh, look at that. It all moved up real nice. All right? It's supposed to be 175. Let me move this over a little bit. No. Well, that's fine, okay? You do the subtraction, all right? So that's going to be 15, annex of 0, bring down the 0. 25 goes into 150. Well, I happen to know 6 times because that's 150, and then that's your solution. Now you got 0.76, move the decimal over 2 spots, and add a percent sign, and you got 76%. Ta-da! Done, finished. It's that easy, guys. Okay. Start the guided practice. Do page 104, do them all, okay? When done with the guided practice, see me to check the answers. If 100% correct, start on the next practice. If not, correct what you haven't done. If you've missed too much, come and see me so I can correct what's wrong with you. And remember that the extra practice is both pages, 107, 108, and odds only. Thank you very much and good luck.
Right here. Logan, do you already have your stick? Yeah, I already got some. Right here. Come in over there. Ready? Yeah! Oh my God, kids, look this way so you can run. Hi, Moda.
Bye, Moses.
Bye. Ethan.
Ethan.
Some girl played so much that I didn't even like this girl. She wrote a heart kind on her own. He's recording. No. Oh my god. Oh, what's up, bro? Still Mr. Willis. No, nothing happened. Recording stopped.
Activities